emotion. Welcome to the Gifted Goddess podcast. It's your host, Idol, where we have conversations that help you rearrange your life to the way you want it. Essentially, today what we're going to be talking about is twin flame separation. So I'm very, very humbled and very, very grateful to be part of this awesome community called I Am Verse. And in there, I have served as a sub leader for quite some time now. And one of the questions that I most certainly get is surrounding twin flames, surrounding soulmates, soul ties, and so forth. So this was a question that was presented, and I thought it would be nice to actually answer it in a podcast. That way it also holds some kind of permanency, and it can always be referred back to. So with that being said, twin flame separation. The thing is about the twin flame relationship, it's never easy, let's be honest. And the reason why twin flame relationship is never easy, but doesn't mean it's not possible, but it's not easy, is because it's a mirror of yourself, which means whatever you need to heal through, whatever you need to grow through, will be presented to you through your twin flame. And you either have the opportunity to now take that on and use it as guidance to better yourself, or you kind of run away from it, or essentially you're standing in the mirror and kind of like, they're the problem, I'm not the problem. So there's so many different things that actually constitutes the dynamic of a twin flame relationship. And I think what's very, very important for us all to understand, first of all, I know recent years you've seen the trends of people glorifying the twin flame relationship and so forth. Twin flame relationship is great. It is great for growth. It is great for understanding self. And it is great for doing that inner work, that shadow work, that work that, you know, that deep grungent work that you don't really want to get into. Simply because the twin flame relationship, yes, is tied up romantically, but also is them showing you to yourself. Same way, for example, when you're in a separation period and you've seen, like right now, you were the runner and they were the chaser, which happens often. 1 minute you're the runner, they're the chaser. Next minute they're the runner, you're the runner and they're chasing you. So if you're in that phase of separation, this is a phase that you are able to rebuild or to build on certain characters of yourself. So if you were seeing, for example, during your twin flame relationship, communication was really, really poor, and maybe what was being said was not being fulfilled out, then these are things that now, or character traits you can now see within yourself. Do I carry this? How do I interact with other people? Am I always open in my communication with other people, whether it's a yes or whether it's a no? Do I keep to my word? You know, am I a person of my word? Which I think is very, very important and very, very profound, because when you are somebody that is a person of their word, not only does that instill a certain respect and a certain level of trust that people have within you, but now you're trusting your very own self. You're trusting that, you know, when you say you will complete this, you will complete this. When you say you will show up, you will show up. Obviously, life happens and things can happen. For example, if you were supposed to show up at a certain time, or if you're supposed to go somewhere, meet someone, and then something shows up, but then because you have that open communication, you're able to manage that expectation. So it's not going to be a minus in your relationship with that person. The way I like to see, or the way I like to describe the relationships, is kind of like a bank account. You have like a relationship bank account, an emotional bank account, right? Same as you do a monetary bank account. The more you make deposits, the more you see your bank account raising or rising in money, vibration, energy, or even emotions, right? So if you are pouring into yourself, for example, in this instance, where you're working and building in yourself, on yourself, this is now where you are depositing sums into your own bank account, whether it's your energetic bank account, your vibrational bank account. So that means, for example, if you see like, okay, during the twin flame separation at the beginning, maybe you were feeling low, you were feeling like, you needed that person, you were feeling like things cannot go on, and then you took a step back to reevaluate and see what's going on. It's like, actually, why am I feeling like this? I know that I have come into this world whole, and I know that the universe will never give me something that I cannot manage, or the universe will never give me something that is not for me. What can I learn in this situation? And now you start to take inventory of yourself. You start to take inventory of what has happened. And then so you're able to progress and move forward. And with that being said, now you're like, okay, during that relationship, I was a little bit clingy. Or during that relationship or during our interaction, I was a bit dependent when usually I'm not. So now you're able to look at these traits and you're able to counteract them. There's no such thing as, I feel, erasing anything. If anything, you can replace. Energy is never destroyed, which means energetically, if you are needy, that will never be destroyed. You will never get rid of it. You can replace it with something healthier. So if you were dependent, now you can actually replace it with interdependence, or you can replace it with independence in certain areas. Example being, if you and your twin flame were always going to the gym together, and you would not go to the gym if your twin flame didn't come to the gym with you. So now that is a dependent state. But now if you're saying you're going to be interdependent, during your workouts in the gym, you kind of made a couple of friends, kind of gym buddies that you'd say hi to when you're in the gym. And sometimes they have suggested to you, actually, let's train together this. And you've never taken them up on it. So now you're able to have an interdependent relationship with those people, because they are there for themselves. You are there for yourselves. But then together you guys are building, or you're working towards a mutual goal. And then independence would look like, okay, I'm making a plan. And I'm going to the gym every morning, let's say at 6 a.m. And because I know the first alarm will go and I won't go, then I'll put 2 more alarms. And then you make yourself accountable like that. So that would be independent. And even going back to interdependent, another interdependent situation can be, for example, seeking out help. So okay, you want to build your glutes and you don't know exactly how to do it. Your twin flame, used to be the person that was very knowledgeable in that area. So now what you would have to do, or what you could do, is seek professional help. Go and contact a PT and, discuss with them what your goal is, what you've been doing, and they can then advise you, or they can even create a plan for you, or they can even train you basically. And that is then interdependence, because it's you and the PT working together for a goal, your common goal, your main goal. Obviously the PT wants to get results so that their rating remains high, and you want to get the results because you want to get the results. So it's a win-win situation. So that there you have interdependence. So what it is with the twin flame relationship, quite frankly, it means this is a time for you to pour into yourself and see areas that you might need more work on. This is the time where you're able to take inventory of yourself. This is the time where you're able to reflect back, because there's no mirror reflecting towards you. Now you're actually you yourself with your thoughts and your ideas. Have you been putting in the work in, to your business, to your own self, to your health, to your wealth, to the vision of life that you're supposed to live? Have you been putting in that effort? If no, where has that extra time been going? And I think also it's very important to note that rest is important. And if you're resting and you're actually resting, you recuperating your energy, that is fine. It is okay if you're resting, if you're taking some time to yourself to heal and everything. That's okay. Like the moon has different phases in the cycle, like the weather has different seasons, we also have different seasons. We have our seasons to hustle, we have our seasons to grind, we have a season where energy is 150 and we're putting everything in and maybe running on 3 hours of sleep. And then we have our seasons where we're literally resting. And resting may mean literally sleeping. It may mean actually just hibernating. It may mean just doing the lighter work, doing the scripting, doing, the energy realignment or alignment, taking your baths, taking care of self. So for you right now, if you are in this twin flame separation, take that as an opportunity for you to heal, for you to evolve, and for you to then later in 3 months look back and be like, whoa, I have come a long way, because this is like literally your make or break in the essence, as in you can dwell in your negative emotions and then just cook in that sauce and just remain in that sauce and nothing ever gets resolved and you don't move forward, you end up moving backwards. Or you acknowledge and you witness the emotions and then you're like, you know what? There is better out there. You know what? The universe knows why. You know what? I trust and flow. And that is very, very important, because sometimes I think we don't surrender. We surrender. We don't even know how to surrender sometimes. Sometimes it's always like, oh, okay, this is what I want. I know I'm going to have this life 150%. 365 days. And to be honest, yes, you could do it for a year, 2-3 years, but then you burn out. And when you burn out gravely. Like it will be a hit, like a train wreck. So you wouldn't ever want to do that. So which means that essentially you're able to know, or you're able to perceive when you need to stop and be like, yeah, I've done enough and I need to rest and breathe. Or when it is time for you to get up and get into action mode. And I know sometimes getting into action mode can be a bit daunting. So if anything, I'm going to do another podcast on that. But this separation period in your twin flame relationship is a beautiful time for you to take inventory of yourself. Write out what you're perceiving, write out what you're witnessing, write out how you're feeling, and then look back in your own catalog, like in your own history. When was a time you felt 150? What were you doing? What was that version of yourself doing? Were they getting up at 5 a.m? Were they going for the workout first? Were they eating wholesome foods? Were they getting a lot of sunlight? Were they drinking loads of green tea? Were they drinking loads of water? What was it that you were doing during the time you were successful? What were you doing? And then try and implement some of those habits into the now, because this will activate your brain and be like a precursor into, yep, we're in this mode right now. And that will help. And then from there, you can build better habits, or you can build new habits that help you. But have a precursor, whatever it is you were doing. Whether it's taking cold showers. I know certain people love taking cold showers. Just use it as a precursor and let that be for you. For me, for example, what I can use as a precursor is when I was really on my regimen of training, and what would help me is to take showers before going to the gym. I know for most people it sounds very counterproductive, or it sounds very weird, but for me, even if I've taken a shower in the morning, before I get into my gym clothes, I would take a quick shower, then I'll put on my gym clothes, and I had one special fragrance for the gym, and then I'll put that on. and I was ready to go. Like, it didn't matter what happened before, it didn't matter whether it was pouring outside, I was ready to go. And that was me telling my brain, this is what we're doing now. Because remember, we are spiritual beings, but we're in this avatar 3D vessel. So which means that this 3D vessel has been programmed. So sometimes we have to reprogram, to our liking, to have and create the life we want to live. So with that being said, I will see you guys in another episode. Take care, my loves. Love and light. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. That way you can bless somebody else's timeline with this video.